Every gambler knows that the secret to surviving,
I don't wanna take advice from fools.
You always won every time you placed a bet.
Money, that's what I want.
I'm Joe Duffy, CEO of OffshoreInsiders.com, the top sports betting website in the world. Breaking news. Delta point margins are a handicapper's lesser-known weapon, particularly when it comes to forecasting totals. And now the self-evident question, what are delta points? It's the implied number of points a team will score and allow based on the point spread. Using rounded numbers for streamlining, let's just say a team is favored by 10 points and the posted total is 30. That means the implied projected points scored by the favorite would be 20, and the implied points allowed would be 10. If they scored 27 points, they'd have a plus 7 delta points scored. When applied as season-to-date averages, we can measure overachieving and underachieving offensive and defenses, and yet again, use the odds makers' wisdom against them. Not shockingly, here we go again. Teams, and more particularly units, regress to the mean. Heavily overachieving offenses are usually good wagers for an under. Underachieving offenses, good antes for the over. Of course, this is especially true and corroborated by both units on both teams, or at least when equally compelling numbers aren't conflicting. Now let's talk college football, for instance. Teams that have a delta point scored of 7 or better go under 1,083 or 1,083, 913 and 48 for a nice 54.3%. When their opponent also has a DPS of plus 6, it goes under nearly 60% at 192, 131 and 9. Sure enough, disappointing offenses inclined to be good overplays. Teams with a delta point scored of minus 14 or less goes over 161, 135, and 5 for 55.4%. Underachieving defenses, teams that allow an average of at least 9.5 points per game more than the odds makers expected, go under 544, 460, and 15. Great defenses, of course, go over. Defenses allowing at least 12 points fewer points per game than expected go over 243, 205, and 8 for 54.2%. This is another hypothesis that crosses sports. It should, as it's based on a primordial yet ingenious truth. Odds makers are not wrong often. That's bad news for the square player, but delta points scored/allowed essentially disarms them. What the odds makers tell us can and will be used against them. For the best premium picks in the world, as well as, of course, the vetted sportsbooks and more, please visit OffshoreInsiders.com each and every day before placing your legal wager.